Hello, everybody from around the globe, I hope. I don't know about you, but I just love that countdown clock. It gets me so in the mood to be here with all of you. And while I'm speaking about you, feel free to comment and let us know where you are calling in from, where you are viewing from, because one of the most exciting aspects of virtual live stream communication is that we can interact with people around the globe. And thank you. I just saw the comment from Evie Diaz. Thank you for being here today and for your kind words. Thank you, Deanna, for joining us and for your enthusiasm. If you are here to learn how to speak powerfully so you can succeed in business, you are in the right place. And again, this is designed for the non-native English speaker, because not only do I have some important tips and techniques to share, but I have an incredibly exciting launch that I am going to share at the end of today's masterclass. So, are you ready? Are you looking to get a promotion, but you know that your communication skills may be holding you back? Or are you preparing for an upcoming interview and you are concerned that you will not be able to respond to those questions in a clear and concise manner? My name is Jayne Latz, also known as the Communication Trainer, and I am excited to be here today to share with you 3 important ways that you can speak powerfully in order to succeed in business. And I'm even more excited to share with you this brand new program that we are literally launching at the end of this program. I have never done that before, so I'm really excited. By participating today in this live stream, you are going to learn 3 important ways that you will be able to speak powerfully and succeed in business. 1, how building breath support can help you speak up and be heard. 2, why pronunciation is important if you want to speak clearly and succeed. And 3, why it is important to understand the difference between emphasis and intonation patterns. You may want to grab a pen and paper. You might, or you can re-watch this. You can get the replay and view it again and again. And as I mentioned, at the end, there will be an irresistible offer, truly irresistible offer. And the program that I am going to share will strengthen your spoken clarity and will develop executive presence. The program I will share will deliver your messages by speaking in a clear, concise, and powerful way. And the program we share will boost your speaking confidence and make a lasting impression. But first, as I promised, I want to discuss those 3 ways to build your speaking so you can succeed in business. Let's talk first about how building breath support helps you to speak up and be heard. I have been working with non-native English speakers for 16 years this month. Yay, our anniversary month, 16 years. One of the common features I find is that when people know they have an accent, And by the way, we all have accents. I have an accent. So it's not about eliminating the accent, it's about speaking clearly and concisely and, of course, confidently. Often, when people know that they have an accent, they speak in a softer way, perhaps thinking that if they do not project their voice, no one will hear the accent. But when you're not projecting your voice, you are making it harder for the listener to hear the message. And it is also said that when we speak in a strong, powerful way, we appear more confident. It is important that you learn all about diaphragmatic breathing. Put your hand on your belly. That's where the breath support comes for speech. And we want to speak up and be heard. How often do you speak up in a meeting and no one pays attention? Someone says the exact same thing and everyone thinks it's the greatest idea because it's how you're saying it. So while I'm talking, I want you to just consciously think about the breath coming from your belly, because the way that sound is made is we bring that breath up and it literally opens and closes our little vocal cords that are right here. And that's how sound is made. So we need to bring that air up. So practice breathing in through your nose for the count of 3, and then a slow exhalation for the count of 5. Breathe in and breathe out. That is step 1 of building breath support so you can speak up and be heard. Hello, Emmanuel from London. Love it. Love it. Thank you for joining us. And yes, thank you, Evie, for clarifying how important clearly speaking and confident is. Speaking clearly and with confidence. So let's going back to breath support. An exercise I want you to do after, remember you have pen and paper, is I want you to now take that breath and I want you to hold the sound ah for as long as you can, like this. I'm not going to hold it as long as I can. I just want to give you the sample. Ah. You will hold that for as long as you can. Take out your timer. If you can hold it for 20 seconds, you're doing a great job. Many of you will only be able to hold that sound for 9, 10, or 11 seconds. And that means you need to work on building breath support for speech. This is a wonderful exercise for you to practice every day to build that breath support. So if you're only able to hold it for 9 seconds today, try again later, and then tomorrow, and then the next day. If you can get to 20, great. See if you can get past 20 seconds. When I conduct training in person, I have the team stand up. It's always a fun competition. Who can sustain the ah longest? There's always like 2 people that are left standing. So compete with yourself. Get your best score. Remember, the first technique I wanted to share with you today is building breath support so you can speak up and be heard. And there's no express lane to getting this done. It takes the daily practice. There are many more ways to build breath support for speech, but if you're familiar with me on YouTube, you can search out those videos, and they are exclusively designed to different exercises to build breath support for speech. What I want you to walk away knowing is do not hide behind what you think is an accent. I want you to be proud and confident and to speak up and be heard. Number 2 is how pronunciation is important if you want to speak clearly. Let's talk a little bit about Pronunciation, clarity, articulation, those are all words that mean the same thing. Speak clearly so your message is being heard. Very often, people have a tendency to drift off at the end of their sentence. I call it falling into the abyss. You know who you are when you tend to trail off. You know that you're coming to the end of what you're saying, so you kind of just drift off. The problem is, if you drift off, your message will be lost. And there are many words in English that differ just in those final sounds. So if you're drifting off, the message is lost. Similarly, if you drift off, those last words, the last message might be lost. I like to compare staying above the abyss without falling off to Broadway. Now, you might notice from my background, my office is in Manhattan, New York, New York. We lost Broadway for a bit, but we are back. So you're probably saying, what does clarity have to do with Broadway? I will tell you. When people are on stage performing, whether on Broadway or in your local theater group, an actor needs to stay strong and in their role until the curtain hits the ground. If they have a heavy hat on their head, if they have a heavy wrap on, if they're in the middle of a pose, they have to stay in that pose until the curtain hits the ground. When you are speaking in business, whether it's on the telephone, one-to-one, 1-to-5, or speaking to a large group, your goal is that your message is clearly delivered and well received. You want to stay strong and not fall into that abyss, not trail off until the last utterance of what you are saying is completed. Then you pause, take a breath, and continue to the next sentence. But do not let your voice get lost before you're done saying what it is you need to say. If your message is lost, that will lead to miscommunication, and miscommunication leads to lost revenue, whether it's for you as a business owner or for the company you work with. So again, that is why pronunciation, clarity, articulation, whichever word you want to use, is so important to communicating more successfully in business. And hello, Ricky from India. Isn't the virtual platform just wonderful? I know that so many of you have commented on my YouTube channel, the communication trainer, but it's so great to have you live here today. And just know that I will be answering any questions you may have as we continue. So share your questions. All right, I promised you 3 things in this live stream. So far, we talked about breath support and pronunciation. Now we're going to talk about emphasis and intonation. And some of you may not even know what I'm talking about with reference to emphasis and intonation. There is research that was done out of Austin, Texas, that says that how we say something matters twice as much as what we are actually saying. How you say something is certainly relevant to the stress and intonation patterns. Since Ricky is calling in from India, I'm going to share an example from India. We have a significant number of clients from India. And when I have that first call with a prospect, especially since the pandemic, there are two words that are frequently mispronounced because of the emphasis. And those two words are pandemic and executive. I'm going to say them again, so in the replay, you can practice how we say these two words in standard American English. Pandemic, executive. When I have these telephone calls with these individuals, specific right now to those calling from India or who were from India, now possibly living in the United States or somewhere else, those two words often the stress is on an incorrect syllable. And when the word is said, it takes me a minute to realize what is being said. Imagine for people around the globe with different accents, different stress and intonation patterns, how you may be saying a word that's causing your listener to have difficulty processing and understanding what it is you are saying. So yes, you know the word pandemic, and maybe the actual sounds are correct, but simply where you're putting the stress on the incorrect syllable is causing confusion to your listener. So it's so important to understand stress and intonation patterns and learn the correct patterns. Additionally, there are pairs of words in standard American English. I'm going to throw out a big word, but don't worry about it, that are called heteronyms. What is a heteronym? And this has to do with stress and intonation patterns. If you were to read the word present, it could be one of two words. It can be a noun or it can be a verb. For the holiday, I received a beautiful present. The stress is on the first syllable and the word is a noun. I have a beautiful present. Today, I will present a very exciting, irresistible offer. Present. The stress, the emphasis is now on the second syllable, and it's a verb. How are you pronouncing that word? Do you even put stress in different places, knowing that one is a noun and one is a verb? But don't worry, because I'm going to share more about heteronyms shortly. The important point here is that you understand that where we put emphasis and intonation will have a great impact on the comprehension to your listener of the message. And thank you for joining from Syracuse. I didn't catch your name, but thank you for being here. Syracuse, New York, another New Yorker. So to recap, we talked about how breath support can build your spoken message, help you to sound more confident so you can speak every day with impact and succeed in business. We talked about why pronunciation is so important and knowing that pronunciation clarity, articulation, they all mean the same things. It is important that you stay strong, use that breath support, and clear throughout your spoken message. And 3, it is the importance of emphasis and intonation that will help deliver your message in a clear manner. Clear in terms of the message. We want to avoid miscommunication by building these 3 techniques. Any questions about what I just shared? I have a discussion for PhD tomorrow, and I have been binge watching your videos. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. That means the world to me. Thank you. Go out tomorrow and speak up and be heard. You will rock it. All right. Are we all excited to hear about the program that I am launching literally right now? Right now around the world. We have London, we have India, we have Syracuse, New York. We probably have a few other places as well. So what is this program? And more importantly, why is it different than any other program? We are launching Reduce My Accent Now, an online independent program that so many of you have been asking for years. And we started it years ago, but it takes a lot of work, and it truly takes a village. And thank you to my team and my village. What is this program not? When I started creating the online program for non-native English speakers many, many years ago, we were taking very deep dives into the sounds in standard American English. We are not doing that here. And my reason for that is because I'm not there to give you feedback. I don't want you to keep practicing a sound incorrectly. Because without having a professional to give you feedback, you could be practicing and being so diligent, but practicing incorrectly. I don't want that to happen. I chose some very specific modules, 10 in total, very specific modules that you can practice on your own and master. I have learned, again, in 16 years, the unique aspects of studying accent reduction, these unique aspects that are proven and successful. They are key features to developing a strong, clear, confident way of communicating so you can speak every day with impact. These features are often neglected and overlooked in other programs, not in ours. The beauty of an online independent program is that you can go at your own pace, that you can go over the modules again and again and again until you feel confident that you have mastered that lesson and then move on. When you work directly with an expert, it's fantastic. You get the feedback. My team is spectacular. But again, you don't always have that luxury of going over it and over it and over it again. In an online independent program, you do. So what I'd like to do is share with you some of the highlights of this program and the incredible, irresistible offer that I have for you. So if you didn't get your pen and paper yet, this might be a good time to get it. And by the way, If you sign up for our newsletter at our website, you will be reminded of this opportunity for 5 more days after today, because this opportunity is only around for 5 days. So if you have never signed up for my newsletter, make sure you do as soon as we are done. Corporate Speech Solutions. Okay, what are some of the highlights of the program? And again, I can't give you all of them. I have to keep some secrets for those who actually purchase the program, but I'm going to share some of the training modules. Number one, of course, vocal power. I always start with vocal power. In my private training, we always start with vocal power. Just like we started earlier with the first technique I shared with you. If we are not speaking up and being heard, we're not going to succeed in business, and we won't exude confidence and executive presence. So the first module is called vocal power. And I did not even tell you that with this program, you get our custom designed workbook, which is in its 5th edition. 6 different speech pathologists have contributed to it, and it has over 150 downloadable sound files. So the reason I just brought it up is, yes, you will have exercises to practice. You will have handouts for every single module. There is so much, even if you never watch our videos and you just grab the handouts and the workbook, you have gotten your money's worth. So the first module is on vocal power, and the second module is on vocal engagement. Because how often are you in a meeting, especially virtually, where someone speaks in a very monotone voice and you just lose attention? I signed up for a 3-day program last week on the virtual platform, and it was something I really wanted to hear. The first day, I could not believe how monotone the presenter was. Thankfully, I do have a monitor, so I could multitask, and we've all been there while I was listening. I could not sustain attention. He did not have any vocal engagement. Needless to say, I did not make it through the 3 days that I wanted. It was 1 hour each day, but I did not make it through, because that's what happens when people are monotone. Your audience tunes out. So vocal engagement is so important. Learning how to use your pitch, your power, and the pause. You might notice I'm drinking a lot of water. We call that vocal hygiene. It's really important, if you are going into a speaking situation, to always have water nearby, because again, your vocal cords are just these little rubber bands, and we don't want to hurt them. We don't want you to get a sore throat. We don't want you to get laryngitis. You may recall I'm a speech pathologist, so vocal hygiene is really important. One module is vocal power, one is vocal engagement, and now, not in any particular order, another module is on frequently mispronounced words. There are so many words in standard American English that are frequently mispronounced. Number one, your listener may not know what it is you're trying to say. Number two, many of the mispronounced words take away from how professional you sound. So, for example, the word actual. We hear so often actual. You may not have heard the difference, but there's really a k sound, actual versus actual. You may go on a job interview and use one of these frequently mispronounced words incorrectly, and you might lose the opportunity. I am not exaggerating. I'd like to share a story with you. Many years ago, I was presenting to a financial company in New York City, and I used the example of the word ask. That word is frequently mispronounced. It's spelled ASK and it's pronounced ASK, but we've all heard it mispronounced. I shared that as an example, and at the end, the manager came over to me and said, "You are so right." He said, "Just yesterday, I interviewed someone. Their resume was stellar. The interview was going well. He spoke well. And then the minute he used that particular word incorrectly, the interview was over." Right or wrong, that wasn't me. Right or wrong, when I tell you how important that module is, it will be really important for you to learn the correct pronunciation of those words. Oh, Grisleen, thank you, thank you, thank you. Such a kind, kind thing. Sonia, Barbados, the Caribbean. I wish I was there. I'm in New York and it is very cold. Nigeria. I cannot tell you all. Pakistan. I can't tell you how excited this makes me feel. One of the best things to come out of COVID, South Sudan, is that all our training now is, South Africa, is virtual. We have a group that used to meet in New York City. It's virtual. Our training, it's virtual. Everything we do now is virtual. So for all of you that are calling in, listening from around the globe, it is just as easy for you, hello from Turkey, to get the training as it is from someone in New York. Imagine a silver lining from a terrible pandemic. We are all virtual now. We talked about those frequently mispronounced words, and now one of my modules is on heteronyms. So remember, I just described heteronyms, and everyone on this call, everyone that's listening, probably said, "What is a heteronym?" Now you will have an entire module and a supplemental handout devoted to explaining when a word is pronounced and it's a noun and when it's a verb. I don't want to get you all confused here, and that's the beauty of the module. Another example, I gave you that example earlier about present. Another one is produce. When I go to the supermarket, I buy a lot of produce, vegetables, fruit, produce. In work, it is so important that you produce a lot of good content. Produce the noun, produce the verb. If you're interested in learning more, that module will be perfect for you. And remember, you can replay it as frequently as you want. Another really valuable module. Have I gotten you excited yet? Feel free to put a yes or an exclamation in the comment. I'd love to see if people are getting excited. Another module is on idiomatic expressions. Many years ago, an executive was transferred to her New York company from France. She was in an executive meeting and someone used an idiomatic expression and she was lost. And she was very upset. They had just transferred her. She was a high-level executive. She immediately went to HR and said, "Can I get training on idiomatic expressions?" And enter Corporate Speech Solutions. We created a fantastic program for her on idiomatic expressions. And then a few years later, Another French CEO of an international company that we had worked with on accent reduction continued on, and one of the aspects of his next level was including idiomatic expressions. So what is an idiomatic expression? If I said to you, or if you said to your children, it's time you hit the books, does that mean literally go and smack your textbooks? No, of course not. It means go to your room and study. Another one is when you're in a meeting and your boss says, you hit the nail on the head. What does that mean? In the middle of the meeting, you took out a hammer and hit the nail? No. You hit the nail on the head. That was a brilliant comment. You really understood the challenge. That is a perfect solution. You hit the nail on the head. So that module and accompanying handout reviews some of the more popular idiomatic expressions. And then, of course, there is a module on practice, because if you don't practice, you don't succeed. We'll talk more about practice after. So imagine speaking up tomorrow in a meeting and the room gets quiet to hear you and listen to you. You use that strong breath support to speak up and be heard. Everyone stops to listen to you. How does that feel? You are now clear. You are now confident. That is what you will achieve by enrolling in the course. The course is being offered literally right now for the very first time, and it will stay open for just 5 days. Why? We are opening it up at an incredibly discounted price. Let's call it beta testing. It is an incredibly discounted price because we want you to experience this incredible course and give us feedback. I want to hear about your success. I want to hear how much more confident you are in your meeting tomorrow or Thursday or next week. You know, I respond to all your comments on YouTube, and I will be so excited to hear about your success. So literally, you are the very first around the globe to have access to this online program, 10 modules, a digital copy of our very valuable book that all our private clients get, and downloads that supplement the modules. And as I said, if you never even watched the videos, the handouts, the workbook are worth the price itself. So why should you enroll? To be happier. I know when people call me that are non-native English speakers, that confidence always comes up. People feel battered. Someone said to me last week that they said something on a call and the individual said, "Can you send that to me in an email? I didn't quite get what you said." He was mortified. He was horrified. So what will you get out of this program? Greater confidence, greater clarity. You will be able to communicate with power and purpose. This is an incredible offer. Are you ready? Do you want to hear about it? This offer, and the link will be shown streaming, so you could literally grab it now, but you might want to listen to the end. But grab it now. Make sure you go purchase it for just, are you ready? My business coaches would kill me if they knew that all this hard work was being offered for just $97. $97 for those 10 modules, my workbook, and the downloads. After 5 days, ending on Monday, it will go up to twice that price, but I can't even promise you how long it will be at that price. Remember, this online independent study program will help you to strengthen your spoken clarity and develop executive presence. Those are skills people call me about all the time. They're moving into leadership roles. They need to improve their executive presence. We will work on that. This program will help you to deliver your message by speaking in a more concise and powerful manner. This online program will boost your speaking confidence and make a lasting impression. So get ready. Head to that link right now and register. And let me know if you have any questions. And for all of you that do not get my newsletter, go to my website right after this and register for our newsletter. You'll get a free tip sheet on communicating with clarity and confidence, a great tip sheet. You could keep it in your back pocket. So it's worth signing up just for that. But you will also get the email reminders in case you have to jump into a business meeting as soon as this call is over. But remember that $97 will not last. We talked about practice. I have a quote right on the whiteboard, right behind my computer. And the quote is, "The destination toward mastery is on the road called repetition. And on that road, there are neither shortcuts or express lanes." I get calls all the time. I want to quickly get rid of my accent. There are no shortcuts. There are no express lanes. This course will help you to boost your clarity and your confidence so you can speak every day with impact. I remind you that this special offer is good till Monday, but grab it. Don't forget about it. Grab the course today for just $97. The door is now open. Before I conclude with one last line, please let me know if there are any questions, because for those of you who were invited to attend today, I said I'm open for questions. I got great comments that just made me feel so great. But if there's any questions, you have me live right now. So type away. I'm here. Otherwise, feel free to send me an email. I respond to all emails. And go grab the link to our online program. I believe it's reducemyaccentnow.com. reducemyaccentnow.com, but there's a very specific link that should be going up. I want to thank all of you for taking 45 minutes out of your business day to join me today. It was great seeing so many of you from around the globe. I want to wish you great communication success. Thank you for joining, and I will see you in the next live stream.